Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, she's a contestant for Miss Texas. She's going to be talking about her passion and purpose next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I've always been fascinated with those people who compete in these pageants successfully. It involves a lot more than looks. It's drive, determination, and talent as well. To talk about that, Madison Matlock. She's the current Miss DeWitt County, and she's running for Miss Texas. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for letting me be here. This is such an honor.
Okay, so Miss Texas is coming up quick.
I check in Saturday. Yes, sir. It is. It's so crazy. I can't believe it's already here, but I'm so excited. It's like big girl summer camp.
I love it.
So I'm ready to be there and be with all my sisters.
And for those people who say, oh, it's a beauty pageant, it's far from a beauty pageant, isn't it?
It really is. It is more of a professional development organization than I would say a pageant. Yes, we are beautiful women, but we're also very strong women. We're invested in our careers and our education. We are invested in our communities, and I think that's something that people don't realize is that we're more than just a gown on stage or a girl smiling and waving in a parade. We are really invested in our communities and in the community service initiatives that we have.
Sure, and you've been competing since you were a little girl.
Since I was a little girl, yes. My interest was sparked after I watched my Aunt Morgan win Miss Texas 2005. And since then, it has been a journey. It really has. And it has opened so many doors for me in my career and in my life because I have the soft skill experience from competing in pageants.
Sure. And one of your platforms is anti-drunk driving. Can you talk about why that's special for you?
Mm-hmm. I lost my sorority sister, Crilley, to a drunk driver in 2019, and it completely changed my life. I really started to see that drunk driving is so prevalent in our communities, and we really don't pay attention to it. It's a blip on the news, and then it's gone. And these people, their lives are forgotten. And for me, I wanted Crilley's memory to be memorialized in a message of strength and for victims and for their families. And so that's where Perfectly Preventable was created. It's created to share my story, but share Crilley's life in the hopes that it changes somebody's decision to drink and drive.
Absolutely. And you went to Austin, and we're going to show a picture, but I want you to tell us, what were you there to do?
I did. I spoke in honor, or I guess not in honor, but in support of Lauren and CJ's law that Representative Jeff Leach had proposed to the Texas Corrections Committee, the House Corrections Committee. And it was one of the biggest bucket list items that I had set for myself, not just as Miss DeWitt County and as a pageant competitor, but as a person who this issue has been touched by. And so I got to speak on that and speak to that committee, and it was so amazing. It was amazing to get to share Crilley's story in the House and have her name said and be a testimony to that piece of legislation.
Sure. Well, we're going to show some pictures from your pageant life, and as we're going through these pictures, tell us what it's like to compete.
Oh my gosh, it is like big girl summer camp. It really is a connector for so many young women, and for me, that's why I decided to go back. After taking a 7-year hiatus, I wanted connection, I wanted friendship, and I wanted to be around young women who, cared more about their community than what purse they carried. And I've really found strength within myself and found so much confidence in who I am and where I am in my life because I've been competing in the Miss Texas organization.
And do you develop friends there? I imagine you would.
Oh my goodness, yes. That friends doesn't even put that, I don't even know what to say. that's not even the best way to describe it. This is sisterhood. These are the people that are going to be my bridesmaids in my wedding, and people that are going to be friends for a lifetime. And you had my friend Maddie Frankie's on a few weeks ago, and I'm so proud of her, and I'm so proud of all of these other women. Even though we're competing against each other, it really doesn't feel like that. It feels like I'm watching my friends get to be successful.
And it allows you a platform to go out and speak to different schools. We've got some pictures from a West Texas tour that you took a little while ago.
Oh my goodness.
All right, tell us what we're looking at here.
So I am from West Texas originally. I'm from Lamesa, Texas, which is about an hour south of Lubbock and an hour north of Midland. So if you can only imagine where I'm from, it's really small and really flat. And for a long time, West Texas has kind of been forgotten about, and the schools have been forgotten about. And my plan as Miss Texas is to implement the Miss Texas organization back into these schools, because I understand what it was like to be a young child in a K through 12 school with 200 kids, and I knew everybody. And Miss Texas just didn't come there. And I want to plant the seeds in the lives of those young women there, but also, have Miss Texas be a celebrity. And you really, you can be a celebrity here in Dallas, but in those small communities, Miss Texas is powerful, and she really can share her message there. And so oh my gosh, it was just fun. It was fun to get to be home and see my family. And in some of those pictures, one of those is my cousin in them.
Oh,
and
cool.
I loved getting to speak to Libby's class. That's just what warms my heart, and where it really feels full circle.
And when you're speaking to those young people, did you see yourself a few years ago, and kind of putting yourself in that young person's shoes?
Yeah. And when I do speak to young children, I put myself, and I want to share the message that was not shared with me about drunk driving prevention and about the dangers of alcohol abuse and underage drinking. When I do speak in those classrooms and in those spaces, I just try to give the most relevant and important information for them in their time, at that time in their lives. And I just try to imagine myself in what I needed to hear and what would have been really important for where I was in a small town where, drunk driving is not talked about at all.
Sure. Now, before we show this next clip, I want to set this up. You are an amazing singer.
Oh,
How
thank
long
you.
Have you been singing ever since you were a little girl?
Oh, my entire life. There's videos of me at my grandparents' house in Coppell, and I am, holding onto the washer dryer machine, and I'm singing Christmas songs. You can ask my Mimi that she would take me to the checkout line at the grocery store, and they'd be checking out, you go the beep, and I would be a little girl, and I'd go beep. And I had a really good pitch. And so I've sung my entire life. I come from a musical family. My grandmother was a country music singer. My Mimi, Morgan, my mom, my parents sung at a youth choir in Coppell. So music is just a part of my life. It feels more than a part of my life. It's just a part of my whole soul and who I am. And
often you're getting asked to sing a very difficult song. The national anthem is much more difficult than people know.
It is so difficult. And like I said, if you don't do it right, it almost feels un-American, and there's so much pressure. But you know what? I just try to relieve myself from that pressure because I love to sing, and I know that even singing the national anthem, I just get to do what I love and connect with people through that song.
And you're like, don't forget the words.
I can't. I sang recently. I did the national anthem for the MAD Law Enforcement Recognition Lunch for North Texas. And I had the lyrics pulled up on my phone because I was so scared. I was like, man, I'm in a room of police officers and people who give their lives. I really have to get this right.
And this is a special performance in front of Special Olympics. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran their way, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh,
Wow, I love that. And
Thank you.
it sounded like you had a bunch of people joining in, and so that was really
Oh, that's
special.
the best is when people join in because it makes
Yeah.
me feel a little bit more secure in what I'm doing.
Absolutely, and you're gonna leave a mark on this planet, not only through your work
you.
with Mothers Against Drunk Driving and anti-driving messages, drunk driving messages, but you're going back for your MBA.
I am. I will begin my MBA at Southern Methodist University this August, all while working a full-time job and hopefully as being Miss Texas. So I have a lot that I balance on my plate, but I love it.
Sure.
I'm at the time of my life where I can do that, and I'm very thankful that I have these opportunities. I wouldn't be able to go to SMU and pursue my MBA without the scholarship money that Miss Texas has provided me and paid off my undergraduate with.
Okay, so in the final couple minutes, I want you to talk to the young ladies out there watching this who say, well, I could never do what you do. You're putting yourself out there, you're competing at the highest level. I could never do that. What do you want to say to those people?
Oh man, it's so possible. When you devalue yourself and you tell yourself a lie that you can't, you absolutely hold yourself back. And I told myself that for a long time. But when I stopped feeding myself the lie that I was not capable and that my life wasn't ready, I worked a full-time job, I wanted to go back to school. Once I stopped telling myself those things, it opened my life up to some of the most amazing friends and opportunities through competing in one pageant. And I can say that the Miss Texas organization has touched my life beyond my career and the friendships I've made, and through, I've become a stronger person through it. So if it's something that interests you, sign up, take a chance, and stop telling yourself the lie that you can't, because that's the thing that's stopping you.
Oh, that's a great way to end the segment. We're also going to leave with your Instagram page. Be sure to connect with her and follow her and root for her in the Miss Texas competition here coming up this weekend. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Madison Matlock.
Thank you, Jeff.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.